It's like, I had a baby, but I can't show anybody.
Creation of magic systems and kind of build on that world with spice.
Nothing is quite what it seems. That also applies to Dorothy. There's more to her than meets the eye.
How has the transition from independent to traditional publishing been?
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Liz, and welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast. Guys, we are freaking out. I am fangirling. Today we have a very special, spoiler-free, if there's any spoilers, we'll make sure to let you know, author interview with none other than Nikki St Crowe. I'm like completely freaking out. You guys know.
Oh my goodness.
So we are here specifically to talk about her new spicy retelling of Oz, or reimagining.
We're going back to Oz, baby.
Yeah, I know. At this point, it's like, I think I put on the episode map, like, we should have our PhDs in Oz lore at this point.
Seriously.
But as you guys know, Nikki St Crowe was indie published. She is now the traditionally published queen of spicy romantasy reimaginings. You guys might know her from the Vicious Lost Boys series. I know that's how I personally found her. Her audiobooks are literally amazing. And we're just here to basically sing the praises of West of Wicked. We've got book 1 in the Great and Terrible Land series, so we know that there's more coming down the pipeline. However, we'll find out in a little bit the details.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But think Oz, but Dorothy is pretty badass. There are 4 witches. So that's a new little twist. Ooh. And of course, the Tinman, the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Wizard are hot AF. So, this is exactly what all of us fairytale girlies have been fantasizing about our entire lives. So we're here to finally talk to the woman behind the story. So just to reiterate, today's episode will be completely spoiler-free. If Nikki does decide to share any spoilers about anything that's upcoming, we'll give you a quick warning. It's basically here to get to know Nikki a little bit better, find out some of her behind-the-scenes process, and also just get a little insider info of what to expect from any of her books, but specifically her new release, West of Wicked. But before we get into any of that, we just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Seriously, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and your book to come take a listen on in. If this isn't already on your read shelf, hopefully it is on your TBR shelf. Make sure you are subscribed because we will be deep diving this book in a few weeks. So you want to get notified as soon as that episode goes out because we've been deep diving into all of Oz and we're so excited to see Nikki's spin on it. Oh my goodness. So follow and subscribe everywhere you like to listen to favorite podcasts, including YouTube, Besties in the Books podcast everywhere, Instagram and TikTok. And then make sure you're following Nikki over on Instagram at Nikki St Crowe. So that way you can find out all the upcoming releases, all the upcoming details, and I'm sure some awesome artwork. This book already, guys, it is gorgeous. Artwork, stenciled edges, holy maps. Hello.
The map's gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm obsessed.
So, as per usual, before we bring Nikki on, we got to sing her praises a little bit. Let's just give her a brief introduction. So, Nikki is a USA Today and Amazon best-selling author, best known for her dark and spicy paranormal romance and romantasy novels. Originally independently published, but now publishing with Bramble, Nikki is best known for her Neverland reimagining, the Vicious Lost Boys series, which begins with the Never King. And now she's bringing us a new series in a spicy Oz reimagining, beginning with West of Wicked. So Nikki spends most of her days daydreaming about writing about the bad boys of paranormal romance, where the villain gets the girl and the girl gets the power. So we love that.
Yeah.
You can usually find her at her desk with a cup of coffee and the kind of music her daughter calls, quote unquote, gothic fairy tale, or hunting for the perfect Lake Michigan sunset with her family. Welcome to the fabulous Nikki St Crowe.
Hello. Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to chat with you. Oh my goodness.
I'm excited too.
Yay. So we're going to put you right on the spot.
Yeah.
We're going to open this up with our classic fave and fail, but this time it's going to be like a favorite, maybe and least favorite part about writing the West of Wicked book. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, my favorite part has got to be the men, which maybe is the most basic response ever.
No, not at all.
It's great.
In particular, the Tin Man and the Wizard. I feel like the Wizard was a perfect character to reinvent in this version. So definitely, I enjoyed writing them. Hardest was kind of like the pressure that I put on myself. Which was because I know there's so many fans of the Wizard of Oz world. There's so many different versions of it. So I wanted to make sure that my version had something new to say, but it still had the same feel to it. So I think that part of like making sure that it was done right and well, but also in a way that was new.
I will say, as
totally.
someone who is like, the Wizard of Oz original is my favorite movie of all time. Obviously, we were obsessed with the Wicked movies and the play. The books were kind of here and there, depending on the day. But I will say that, after reading this, it was so refreshing to get your take. It's just so different and so fun and adds to the world in such a unique way. So thank you for bringing this to us.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel very good. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. The Oz universe. Let's just keep expanding it out. And and the men we appreciate too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, big ruby shoes to fill, right? Or silver.
Silver.
If you go way back.
Yes.
So you're doing
Yes.
excellent job. Excellent job. But we can see how that would feel so much pressure for sure, but so good.
Yeah, you almost have to kind of like remove yourself from it in order to do it the right way, I think. And the one thing I didn't do was I didn't consume any content that was Oz related other than the very first book. I read that, obviously, and took my notes, but everything else I was like, I can't be influenced at all.
Yeah.
that's probably a good
totally.
idea, honestly, because like the lore is so expansive and so deep. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
it
sure.
is.
Okay, so what should people expect if they're thinking about reading specifically West of Wicked, and how would you summarize the plot and maybe some of your favorite tropes without giving spoilers?
Well, I like to say that it is a much older Dorothy Gale traveling to a much darker, cursed land of Oz. And much like the original, she sets out on the yellow brick road to find the wizard, to find her way home. But nothing is quite what it seems. And then that also applies to Dorothy. There's more to her than meets the eye. And that was kind of like one of my favorite things about writing this version is reinventing Dorothy a little bit.
Yeah, I loved that too. Her personality is just so different, and obviously we know as we're moving through it that there's many things that will unfold.
Yes, I'm like trying not to get ahead of myself and rush to the end because I cannot wait for all of Dorothy's story to unfold. Like at this point, I'm writing book 3, so like I am way ahead. And the fact that we are now talking about West of Wicked, I am just really excited for people to finally dive in with me so I can talk about it,
That'd be hard to like keep all inside. Keep under lock and key,
It's like I had a baby, but I can't show anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So many of us know you through your incredible Neverland reimaginings, the Vicious Lost Boys and the Devourer series. How is this Oz reimagining different from those previous works? Do they have any similarities?
I think my recurring voice is definitely there. And the theme that I'm always exploring is the power that my female characters find in themselves. So that's definitely there. I would say that this series is a much slower burn. I like Vicious Lost Boys is a fast burn, and it's spicy, and I think it's like I always joke that it's me. Like if you're into the zodiac, I'm a Scorpio moon, so like I like to be hidden in the shadows. The Lost Boys is my Scorpio moon version of me, where I'm just like writing everything that my dark side wants to write and experience. So Oz is a little bit more personal. I feel like it's got a little bit more of that emotional side of me, of like the themes of finding home and like the place that you belong. That's definitely there. There's a lot that I relate to with Dorothy with that, you know, from the original where she's trying to find her way home, and in this version where she's trying to find her way home. But I definitely wanted to explore more of a slow burn in the series, and so I don't want people to go into it thinking that it's as spicy as Lost Boys, because it's not yet. But I love a slow burn too, so that's what this is for me.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So building off of that, so, you know, as I said before, I personally became obsessed with your books after downloading The Never King on Audible on a whim. And
Yeah.
that audiobook was spicy.
Yes, it is.
And I love your, you know, full cast narration. I think that's really awesome and unique. So is that kind of what we can expect from the audiobooks moving forward with this series? And also, how do you choose your audiobook narrators?
Yeah. So multicast is for sure something that was really important to me for this audiobook, because I think that's what readers have come to expect from me with my audio. And I've been very lucky to work with some amazing narrators. So when we set out to start casting for this one, I was like, I want this person and this person and this person. And thankfully we got everybody. Awesome. So like Shane East is coming back. Everybody knows I love Shane East and Stella Hunter. They've worked together on almost all of my books. So they are in West of Wicked. Amy Hall, who's from my Hot Vampire series, she's there. Samantha Brentmore.
Oh my gosh.
And then we have a couple of new narrators, to me anyways. Connor Crace and, let me see, Ellie Gosage and Sean Masters. So they're new. And for them, I was given like a couple of auditions for those characters. And then we picked those ones based on those auditions. And they all did an amazing job. I mean, obviously, I'll always sing the praises of Shane and Stella because I love them so much and I've been working with them for so long. But it's always fun, too, to see new narrators and kind of get to know their style and what they bring to the story. And I think they all brought something incredible.
Yeah, I feel like that's, I mean, definitely one of the things that I look forward to the most when I'm listening to your books on audio is having that really big cast, and it just gives everyone so much more of a personality. It's so fun.
Yes, I love a full cast. I love a duet. This one's dual, but if I can make anything duet in the future, I will, because I love it so much.
Absolutely.
For West of Wicked, how did you come up with this idea for this series?
Well, I didn't set out to be a retelling author, but The Vicious Lost Boys was just so much fun that I was kind of like, why not carry on the theme of the retelling? One of my favorite things about retellings is reading the source material, seeing... maybe the author intended for there to be crumbs, maybe they didn't, but like picking up those things and reinventing them or reusing them, like from Lost Boys, for instance, one of the things that's never really talked about, like ever again, is the fact that Captain Hook he's afraid of his own blood and the blood's a different color. But like, why is that? That's one of those things that like I love picking up on those things and reusing them. So for Oz, one of the things that always stuck out to me was the fact that Dorothy's an orphan, but like she has no backstory. Like, how did she end up on the Kansas prairie at the farmhouse? Like, where are her parents? What happened to them?
Yeah.
So that was really interesting to me, but like on a more woo-woo magic-y level, which I love, I could almost like feel it in my body. The second it was like Wizard of Oz, it was like a full body shiver almost. So then I was like, I'm doing this.
That's awesome.
So I feel like there's
that.
a little bit of divineness, cosmic green light.
Yeah. Did you grow up watching, Wizard of Oz or anything like that? Would you consider yourself a fan?
Yeah, for sure. I love The Wizard of Oz. My favorite, though, was The Return of Oz.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Please, thank
It's
you.
so
Oh my
creepy and I
gosh.
love it.
Yes.
Yes, I feel like that's the best one. I have this full memory of because I'm in my 40s now. Way back, the grocery store used to have VHSs you could
Yeah.
Like rent.
rent.
Yeah.
That's where I first found The Return to Oz and fell in love with it. And then I could never find it again. And it kind of dropped off my radar for a while. I have since rewatched it, obviously, now that we've got access to literally everything. But that was my favorite. I loved that version. I have not read Wicked. So I've watched movie one. I like I said, I've been trying to kind of avoid other versions right now while I'm still deep into mine. But I will read it once I'm done, and then probably go, if I can, go watch the musical.
Yeah. Return to Oz is so unsung, I feel, so I'm so glad that you brought that up, because oftentimes people, when obviously we discuss fantasy all the time, and one of my favorite villains of all time is Mombi, because I was always as a kid obsessed with someone who could just pop her own head off and put someone else's head on so that she didn't have to do her makeup and her hair every day. I was like, that's
so
amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And now that we're talking about it too, I'm like, I think I need to do another rewatch soon, because it's so fun.
Yes.
And
It's like a fever dream.
It is.
Yes.
Love it.
So I think one of the other things that, fans of your work really appreciate is how you balance the lore of these really impactful stories, that have all of this. I don't necessarily want to say hype around it, but obviously really popular stuff, right? Like Wizard of Oz, Neverland, all those types of things. So how do you balance the world building and the creation of magic systems and kind of build on that world with spice? Because I feel like you do that so well. And how does the spice enhance the plot?
Yeah, I feel like spice is one of those really difficult things to do organically, because I'm like, they're fighting bad guys, and now it's time to hook up. How do you make that work? And sometimes it is a struggle. For me, to go back a little bit, I'm always looking to the source material for signposts to kind of start making my framework for the story. Those really big important things that we all are familiar with. So for West of Wicked, it's Dorothy, the cyclone coming in, the house being taken off to Oz. That was obviously really important to me. So building that framework first, and then kind of seeing where that might lead me through the story. This one, similarly to Lost Boys, it does open with some spice, and it's not the right relationship. Because I feel like we can probably relate to that of we're just looking to feel something, damn it. But we're not necessarily with the right person or in the right place. So I like exploring that too. And for Dorothy, she's hungry to feel something, and she's chasing something, and she doesn't know what it is. So it's often through pleasure that she has been trying to fill that hole, I guess. And so for her, I wanted her to, once she got to Oz and she starts uncovering a little bit more about who she is and what she's capable of, I wanted the spice to inform that, of who she is, where she's going, and then also how love fits into that, because she's kind of avoided love because she's got some childhood trauma, like we all do. And so she's been kind of afraid of love up to this point when the story opens. So there's that theme too, and how that relates to the pleasure and the love that comes along with it.
That's all great insight. I love that you use the markers from the original source material to kind of guide you in that way too. That makes total sense.
Yeah, it's super helpful to me, but it's also fun for readers too, because they want to see stuff that they're familiar with. So it's fun for all of us.
Absolutely. How has the transition from independent to traditional publishing been so far for you?
It's been pretty good. I am a creature that likes control, so that's been a little more difficult. But the thing that I was really starting to experience on the indie side was just feeling like I wasn't able to like break out of this bubble that I was in. And I mean, an author's goal is always to reach readers and to reach more readers. So for me going trad, that was my goal. I wanted to be able to reach more readers and for my books to be on more shelves. So that's been exciting to see because like we'll be in Target, we'll be in Walmart, in all the bookstores. That part's really exciting because obviously I want more people to go on these journeys with me. And if they can find my books in more places, then Trad's helped me, accomplish that goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always
so
fun.
exciting.
I know, it's always so fun to like talk to you guys and then like go into Barnes and Noble or into Target and take a picture of your book and tag you in it and be like, look what we saw today. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
I know. I will never get sick of that. I like send me all the pictures of finding the books on shelves. It's so exciting to me because I also love shopping for books in person. So like I want people to be able to do that with my books, just to find something that they didn't know anything about, and all of a sudden they have something fun to dive into.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so eye-catching too. It is absolutely
so.
gorgeous. Like a special shout out to all the artwork that you guys chose and did, the stenciled edges, the map I was showing on the intro.
Yeah.
It is so gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
It turned out amazing. And so the edges will make one picture once the trilogy's done.
I like how both of us are gasping because you just like scratch that itch in our brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited about all 3 being in print so that we can finish that. And then the map, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a bunch of clouds over several parts. The clouds will retreat the further we get along in the trilogy.
Awesome.
Oh, I love that.
So that's going to be fun.
It's so satisfying.
That's going to be fun.
It's like unlocking, like a treasure map.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, exactly.
So exciting. Oh my goodness. Okay. How long would you say it took you to write the first book, West of Wicked?
A long time compared to my other books. So like this is the beauty with indie is like I can write a book and I write it really fast. So I usually write a book in like a month and then I'm putting it out there. And I love that. Obviously I think readers probably love that swift timeline. Trad's much different. It takes much longer to get through all of the steps that we have to hit. So writing it too took quite a while as we were waiting for things to come together behind the scenes, like with contracts and all of those really boring parts about the business. So I actually sat with it for a very long time, which I wasn't used to. But now that I look back, I see it as the benefit that it was, because it means that the plot ended up being richer and deeper. Like, I feel like there's far more, like, to the backstories and in the society and the political issues that they're experiencing. And then the characters, too. Like, the things that they are hiding from, that the lessons that they need to learn, like all that stuff, I feel like it just ended up being deeper and richer because I had way more time with the book to think about it and really dive into what all that stuff would look like, or how that might inform the books going forward too, for book 2 and 3.
Love that.
Yeah, we always love hearing about that because everybody's story with that is so different. Like every book written takes different amount of time that goes into it.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know, are you guys astrology girlies?
I know like my signs and people around me, but I don't know the whole scope.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I study and practice astrology, so I'm like I'm deep into astrology. And
So fun. Yeah.
the transits also, I feel like, inform the books for me, because the transits are always going to be different as I'm writing each book. So that means the books are going to feel different.
Oh.
And so I think about that too with like Lost Boys and with West of Wicked.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way. That's so interesting.
I could go down that rabbit hole.
So, have you always been a writer? And do you have any other works that are maybe unpublished on the back burner, kind of like off to the side, that might come to fruition at some point?
Yeah, I could go way back. My first like semi-professional brush with writing, which is funny to talk about now, was in the 4th grade.
Aw, yeah.
So I don't know if y'all experienced or ever did like the young authors like competitions or anything in school. We had one like every year, it seemed like. But in the 4th grade, I won 2nd place, which was like my first time experiencing some kind of, reward for my work. And that kind of lit the fire a little bit, not only because I won 2nd place, but because 2nd place prize was a pencil and 1st place prize was a day away from school with a pizza party.
Oh.
I was like, I'm determined to make 1st place. Of course,
Yeah.
I didn't, but I'm still chasing that dragon.
Yeah.
And then I was a teen mom, so I had my son when I was 16, so I didn't really have a typical like teenage life. And I turned to books, reading them and writing them. So I wrote my first book when I was 16, and back then, and still now, I was a vampire fan. I loved vampires. So my first book was about vampires. It wasn't very good, but I kind of like decided at that point, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write books, and nothing's going to stop me from pursuing publication. And so like, moving ahead several years, I was a ghostwriter for some YA. I think the pitch was like Gilmore Girls meets Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So it was very like coming of age type stuff. And then I finally sold some of my own stuff. I was writing YA for a very long time, and I enjoyed that. That's where I was reading a lot of back then, was YA. But I always had a romance. There was always a romantic thread. And so it's not surprising that this is where I'm at now, really heavily leaning into romance. It's my first love. I didn't really realize it back then. But there was always some brush of the hand or lock eyes across the room.
I love it. Well, especially because I feel like a lot of the stories that you're choosing to reimagine, I think a lot of us craved more romance out of those stories. So being able to see that and read that is really awesome and refreshing. And I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I definitely appreciate it.
We love a good romance. We need some joy and pleasure, please.
Yes, seriously. Are there any favorite authors or books you'd like to shout out?
Yeah. Well, I gotta shout out my friends because of course. So I've been really loving Danica Nava. All of her stuff is amazing. She's so funny. And a lot of her work features native characters, which I feel like we need more of in this day and age. And for She Is Wrath by Emily Varga, which is a YA, but that's like a female rage type of stuff.
Nice.
That
We love it.
I also really love. And then my good friend Ellie Shante, A Lesson in Deceit, which is her like dark academia, magical Why Choose. That was a lot of fun. There's an age gap in that with the professor. I love forbidden romances. Like, give me that all day long. And then I also am really digging. I'm in like my gothic girly phase, I think, because I read Hungerstone, which is a sapphic Carmilla retelling.
Oh, cool.
That was incredible. And then I just finished Starling House
Oh, okay.
by Alex Ihara, which was also incredible. So I feel like I'm really hungry right now for like gothic stuff. I don't know what that means. Like I would love to write something gothic, like, because also the movies that we're experiencing
Oh my
right now with
gosh.
Sinners and Nosferatu and Frankenstein.
So good.
Give me more of that. I
Yes.
will.
Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I haven't
Dracula.
watched that one yet. It's on my.
Don't
when
get
I
us
back from
started.
tour, that's on my
Yeah.
TV to be watched.
Yeah.
Because so Saltburn was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So weird, and like the setting was amazing. So yeah, I'm feeling that right now. And then further back was Lee Bardugo. Huge Darkling fan. I'm a Darklina stan.
Yeah, justice for the Darkling over here.
Yeah, literally.
Another thing we can't get on our soapbox about right now. Yeah.
I know. I love Lee. I love what she does. I love her writing, but gall, that was a blow.
Darkling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
So to bring it back to West Wicked a little bit here, do you relate to Dorothy and or Cleo? And if so, why?
Yeah. Both of them for different reasons. With Dorothy, we've already kind of talked about like that looking for home, that theme of home. That's a theme that I've been experiencing for several years, trying to find a home. Not just a house, but a home. So in 2023, we sold everything and we bought an Airstream and we went on the road. And we were on the road for just a little under a year, and it was an incredible experience. I feel like that's like somebody trying to relive the glory days of high school. I'm like always talking about being on the road. That's how great it was.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I started writing West of Wicked when we were on the road. So there's that theme of traveling, like the road trip aspect, and then also trying to find home, which now I am home. We built this house, and
cool.
and it's been an incredible experience to kind of like build that, not just the walls, but also that feeling of home.
Aww.
So I relate to Dorothy in that way. With Cleo, like she really suffers from this feeling like she doesn't have value, and that has led to her making herself small and not using her voice. She is constantly worried about mispronouncing words and like, how is this going to come out? Am I saying this right? And I feel like I've also experienced that, and a lot of women do. I think a lot of women have been taught to doubt what they have to say and to use their voice. So for Cleo, that's that thing that I relate to with her. But both women ultimately are way more powerful than they realize, and so I'm excited for them to find that out and experience that, but also for readers to be able to experience that along with them, of that feeling of like, I'm so small, I don't have a lot of power or value, but actually I do. And like the journey that it takes to get to that.
Definitely.
I love that.
Were you inspired by any powerful heroines in particular outside of the Oz universe?
Some of my originals would go back to like some of the earlier urban fantasy. Are you familiar with Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter?
I'm not.
By Laurel K. Hamilton?
No.
She's pretty badass.
Oh, okay.
She was one of my favorites. Mercy Thompson, which she's in a series by Patricia Briggs. Those women were fierce. And even further back, Laura Croft. Tomb Raider.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I love her. I've always loved her. So yeah, I would say those women. I'm sure I have a lot more. And once we're done here, I'm gonna be like, oh shoot, I should have said so and so.
Yeah.
Those are the ones off the top of
Yeah,
my
for
head.
sure. So you just touched on this briefly, but why is it that you think that we can relate so much to those strong but real and flawed women in your stories, such as yours?
I think that, I mean, obviously this is through my lens, but I think in general, we are taught to believe we're not allowed to have flaws. And, or if we're flawed, that means we're weak. And that's not true at all. I think that that's something that, you know, we can grow through or learn from. And I think, I mean, I don't know. I think that like that theme of power is so prevalent for me in all aspects of writing and life, of that feeling of, you know, I don't have anything to say, or I don't have agency in my life. And so I like exploring it in my characters, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would and probably does resonate with pretty much everyone who's going to read your books, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So, circling back around to the men of West of Wicked, because we have to know, are you a Tin Man or a Scarecrow girly, but specifically in your iteration with Silas and Rook?
Well, to be honest, if I were gonna choose, it would be the wizard.
Okay.
But if I had to choose between those two, oh my god. I like them for different reasons. I like the Tin Man because of how, like, he's got these sharp edges and he's unfiltered, and I love that. But he's also, so going back to the astrology, he's got a lot of earth energy. So even though he's heartless, there is this feeling of like, I am safe with him. Which my husband's, he's got a lot of earth energy, and he's given me that my entire life, that feeling of safety and comfort. So there's a lot of that in the Tin Man, a lot of that feeling of capability, of like, he's going to be able to handle whatever comes his way. I love that with my men. With the Scarecrow, he's just funny and charming, and like the crocodile from Lost Boys and the Devourer series, like there's a little bit of unpredictability with him, which I really enjoy. I love writing those characters in that way too. So if I had to pick, I guess I would pick the Tin Man.
Okay.
But that was really painful, and I don't like it.
That's how we feel often over here.
Yeah.
We'll do it begrudgingly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Splitting hairs, as we say, or splitting straw. I don't know, to make it relate.
Splitting hair. Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
For West of Wicked, were there any themes that you put into this book that are extra meaningful to you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely going back to some of those themes of like home and empowerment. Those were the really big things for me. That was kind of like my way into Dorothy, into this world and this series. And also a little bit of revolution. Like the world we find ourselves in, this feeling of being powerless and not being able to do anything to change our reality. This, like, Dorothy does have that power to change what is happening. I mean, she doesn't quite realize it in book one, but she slowly will come to realize how powerful she is. To just, like, I want my women to just walk in the room and be like, get the hell out of here. I'm gonna fix this. And Dorothy's gonna have a little bit of that. And that theme is gonna run through the entire series.
Awesome. Love it.
That. Yep. So you've given us spicy retellings in a few different classic fairy tale universes at this point. So what is it about those stories specifically, if you want to share anything else that you haven't already touched on about Neverland or Oz, that compelled you to write your own reimaginings of these ones specifically?
It really goes back to the nostalgia for me, that feeling of wanting to relive a little bit of my childhood, but in a way that's grown up with me and is a little bit darker and grittier and kind of deals with some of those themes that we deal with as adults. So there's a lot of nostalgia for me. I love those things that I really enjoyed as a child, and I love returning to them still. Like, we have Disney movie days all the time.
Yes.
It just feels good. So with writing them, there's some of that feeling of like, I am familiar with this. I know what this should look and feel like, but also how can I make it a little more relatable to my life now as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes perfect sense. As Disney adults, both of us, obviously obsessed with
Yes.
fantasy, like we are right there on the same page with you.
Oh my gosh. Well, when's the last time you were to Disney?
Last month before last? Yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Nikki, I'm literally leaving tonight to go to Disney World. So,
I am
and then
so
a Disney
jealous.
cruise next week. So, yeah, we're Disney.
Oh my
we
gosh.
love,
Oh,
special
gosh.
place in our heart, I would say.
Yeah. Indeed.
My husband and I are always planning our next Disney trip, and then we're like, okay, well, we should probably pull back and just wait a while. But I'm like always this close to leaving to go to Disney.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I love it.
So you've always been a writer. How do people feel about your book in real life, you writing and everything like that? Do you get a lot of support? When you took a turn to go spicy, did you get any backlash? Anything like that you want to touch on?
So like, this is one of my favorite parts about what I do is like, I don't necessarily have to be super like visible if I don't want to be. So most of my family doesn't know,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
which I love. So like, obviously my mom and dad know that I've always written. The people in my life know that I'm a writer and that I've always written. But this version of me, they don't know about. They don't know what I'm doing these days. So just a few people in my IRL know what I'm doing or where I'm going. So I like it that way because I can kind of be a little bit free and it's a little bit liberating. But everybody else has been super, super supportive. Nobody has given me any pushback. Like I feel that I've been lucky to surround myself with people who enjoy spicy romance,
Yeah.
So like we can kind of, my really, really close friends, they are big readers, and so they are super supportive and, excited with where I'm going.
That's awesome.
So cool. Is there anything else that you're hoping people gain from reading West of Wicked?
I think that, well, first of all, I want them to be able to escape reality for a while. That's always like my goal, is to be able to, and that's why I write fantasy, because I like that we can go to a different world and experience life without a cell phone.
Yeah.
Like stuck in our hands. I'm always like this close to tossing my phone into the void.
Literally.
So I hope that there's a little bit of like an immersive escapism that they can enjoy, but then also that feeling of like I can do the thing, like have belief in yourself. I think for Dorothy and Cleo, there's that there's that need to believe in themselves that they slowly have to come to realize throughout the trilogy. And so I don't know if like that's a thing that I'm cognizant of as I'm writing, or maybe it's just like built into my DNA of like, that's what I want for myself, because I struggle with that, but also everybody else that comes to these characters in these worlds is like, look at the amazing things that these people did. I also can do amazing things.
Yeah, totally.
I love that. Those are two amazing things to take away from it, for sure. Like, it's like self-empowerment, but then at the same time, like being able to like escape to another world too. Like, and that's one of our favorite things about fantasy is when it can mirror, real life back to us in positive ways like that.
100%.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to know, what other books do you have in the works? Can we get any insider info about this series? So we know that book 2, East of Envy, is coming out on November 3rd, right, of this year?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got West and East. So does that mean there will be 4 books maybe with a North and South? Will you be visiting any other fantasy realms in the future? Like, what can you tell us?
As of right now, it'll be 3 books.
Okay.
That's what's planned. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Okay.
Book 3 should hopefully come 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm working on sort of right now is book 3. I'm kind of like in the early plotting stages. I'll be writing it like once I come back from book tour over the summer. So I'm excited about that. And then we're getting a 5th Lost Boy book, which I don't know if y'all had seen. I just announced it like in the last week or so. So I just finished that last week, in fact. So that one will come in August of this year, which I'm excited about because it's been a while since I've been with Winnie and Pan and the Lost Boys. That was interesting to return to because it had been so long. Mm-hmm. So that one I'm excited about, and then I will be going to Wonderland next year with Alice.
I'm so excited. And
I have Alice tattoos. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are amazing.
Thank you.
I love that.
Literally, when I got to that point where you mentioned Wonderland, the scream I screamed. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be crazy. I'm so excited for this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. I still don't really know because I'm not working on that actively right now. It's kind of just like in the back of my head. So I don't know how it's going to look, how it's going to pan out. Obviously I have like an idea of like where I need to go, but I'm excited to kind of like dive in and see how that world really looks and feels and like how that whole story unfolds. I'm excited because like, there's a little bit of a tease with Alice and the Mad Hatter in Dark and Darker Still. And I think that's going to be a fun relationship. I think they're going to be trying to kill each other very early on. So I think that's going to be fun to write. But we shall see.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Can't wait.
We're excited to read anything you write. You guys, another reason to make sure you're following Nikki over on Instagram, Nikki St Crowe, so you get all the details.
Yes, thank you.
All right, before we wrap this up, we're going to hit Nikki with a smasher pass. So why don't you let our listeners know where they can find you first, though, and what events and signings you have coming up.
Yeah, so online, you can find me on most socials as at Nikki St Crowe, and then my website is nikkistcrowe.com. I will be on book tour next week for me.
Exciting.
April 14th is my first stop, so I'll be at Novel Grounds in Chesapeake, Virginia, and then Novel Neighbor in St. Louis, and then I'll be at Cuyahoga, I think it is, Public Library in Ohio. And then I'll be in New York and LA for the cons. So a lot of fun stops coming up. And then a Polycon the following weekend.
Awesome. You guys make sure if you're going to one of these, or make sure you do go to one. And if you're there, stop by and say hi. Pick up some books. Yay.
Absolutely.
All right, smash or pass. Well, we kind of already know. So Liz, let me know if you want a different substitute. But officially, smash or pass, The Wizard.
Yes. Yes.
Smash.
Confirm.
Okay, so since we already kind of knew that it was going to be a smash for The Wizard, your version specifically, can you give us just like one reason why?
Oh, gosh.
You're like, there's too many reasons, or you don't want to give anything away?
Well, also, yeah, I don't want to give too many spoilers away.
Okay.
I think because he's just so arrogant. Mm-hmm. I love arrogant men, especially when the women can bring them down a notch.
Yes.
So
that right there. Perfect.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
yeah.
That's a good
I
teaser
love it.
for sure for people.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on as a guest here
Yes,
today.
thank
It was
you.
so lovely chatting with you.
Yeah. Like
Thank
literally.
you so much for having me.
Yeah. And just a reminder, you guys, you can go pick up your copies officially now when this episode is released. You can go grab West of Wicked at all your book retailers. So exciting. And the Audible and Kindle is also available as well, correct?
Yes,
Ooh.
that is correct. And it's in KU.
Yes. So get
yeah.
that immersive reading. Get the headphones, get the physical,
Yes.
and just, ooh.
I already finished reading the obviously the print version, but I already pre-ordered the Audible version as well, because when I do my reread, I was like, I need to have the audio. Nikki St Crowe books are the best with audio or immersive reading, so I'm so excited to re-listen.
Yay! Yeah, that makes me happy. I think the audio is going to be a whole different experience from the physical. So,
Yes.
like, even being able to do both would be the ultimate experience.
Top tier.
It's a sweet
For sure.
spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you all also for listening today. Make sure you follow Nikki, like she said, anywhere on social at Nikki St Crowe. And then you can follow us at Besties in the Books podcast everywhere as well. Anywhere you like to listen to favorite podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the things. And you guys, we will see you next
See you
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.